Hello and welcome to the morning edition of MBC News. I am Wapili Kaisa. The headlines. Malawi and Zambia commit to strengthening bilateral defense and security cooperation to deal with security challenges in both countries. Police arrest 6 suspects in connection to the murder of medical doctor at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital, Victoria Bobe. And in sports, First Capital Bank unveils a 100 million kwacha sponsorship to National Youth Football Association for the 2026 Under-20 Youth Football League. And now the news in detail. Malawi and Zambia have committed to continue strengthening bilateral defense and security cooperation as both countries continue to face common cross-border security challenges. Speaking in Salima during the 20th session of the Malawi-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Defense, Elvis Todi, said the two countries are grappling with emerging security threats, including transnational organized crime, illegal migration, smuggling, and cyber-related crimes. Nkhani with the details.
Senior government officials, heads and security chiefs from Malawi and Zambia have gathered in Salima for the 20th session of the Malawi-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security. Principal Secretary in the Malawi Ministry of Defense, Elvis Todi, who is also the chairperson of the commission, said state and public security officials from both nations meet to tackle shared threats like terrorism, human trafficking, smuggling, and border disputes, aiming to enhance regional peace, stability, and cooperation through joint strategies, intelligence sharing, and coordinated operations, strengthening ties through regular sessions and defense agreements.
It will also provide us with an opportunity to come up with new areas of cooperation, but also come up with resolutions that we then will be implementing in the year ahead. So ultimately, the idea is to make sure that we improve security, safety and security of our people in the two nations.
Co-chairperson representing the Secretary for Defense in Zambia, Irene Musonda Hawasimbi, said Zambia remains committed to efforts aimed at devising measures to ensure sustainable peace and security in the region. She therefore advised the delegates to devise strategies that can assist in curbing common security challenges.
And we have quite a number of porous areas where we are seeing some of these challenges like human trafficking, and we have smuggling of goods in and outside Zambia, as well as in and outside Malawi. And those are still challenges that we are still working on. And this is a platform where we need to give strategies and the ideas on how effective we can curb these activities that are happening along the border. So these are one of the things that we are trying to address, and it's one of the messages that we are going to really issue out during this session.
The two countries are expected to conclude the officials' high-level meeting with a set of joint recommendations which will be presented to ministers for consideration as part of efforts to strengthen bilateral defense and security cooperation. Yamikani Simutowe, MBC Lilongwe.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Perry, has warned that government will not condone corrupt practices and abuse of public resources by public officials in district councils. He made the remarks in Machinga when he presided over the signing ceremony of district-based development cooperation between the Embassy of Iceland and Malawi. According to the minister, public resources are for the benefit of local communities in councils, and warned that those found indulging in corrupt activities will face serious disciplinary actions. Owen Mavula with a report.
The development cooperation agreement between the Embassy of Iceland and Malawi seeks to enhance support for basic services such as health, education, climate change, water and sanitation in 3 districts of Machinga, Balaka and Salima. The selection of the 3 districts follows collaborative assessment process jointly undertaken by the Ministry of Local Government and the Embassy of Iceland, which considered a number of factors, including the need for access to basic services, institutional readiness, and the quality of district proposals. Speaking during the signing ceremony, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Dr. Benny Piri, called on the councils to ensure that the program benefits the intended communities and warned all public officers against abusing resources through corrupt means.
Basically, we cannot afford to let the president down by the usual way of doing business. We are saying you cannot be incompetent in Zomba and then become competent in Mangochi. That is not possible. We must change our attitude towards work. If you're incompetent, you will be fired. There is no room for negotiations. If you're corrupt, you'll be fired. If you are insubordinate, you'll be fired. Now we are in for serious business. The president means serious business, and entrusting us with this responsibility means a lot. We fail, the president fails.
On his part, Iceland head of mission to Malawi, Dr. David Banason, promised to continue supporting the government of Malawi in areas of development at all levels.
In a few months we will have ready basic services program where Iceland can, through the government, support the districts in their efforts to enhance basic services such as education, health, maternal health and water, gender equality in the districts, so that within, let's say, 3 to 4 months, we can start the program. So that is the expectation at this point, and of course the expectation in the long run is that we will, together with the government and the districts, deliver good results for the people in the communities, in hard-to-reach communities.
The Iceland's Development Cooperation started in 2012 in the districts of Mangochi and Nkhotakota. Owen Mavula, MBC, Machinga.
The World Bank has expressed satisfaction with projects being implemented under its funded initiative, the Regional Climate Resilience Programme, RCRP2. The projects aim to build resilient infrastructure capable of withstanding extreme weather events while prioritizing community involvement. According to Senior Disaster Risk Management Specialist with the World Bank, Tamvani Chirembo, a major focus of the program is recovery from Cyclone Freddy, which caused widespread devastation across several districts. Miriam Kaliza reports.
Nseru Primary School, located near Namitete town in Lilongwe, first opened its doors in 1940. Over the decades, the school has endured numerous natural disasters, leaving many of its blocks unusable, though enrollment at the school has steadily increased. This is set to change under the second phase of the World Bank-funded Regional Climate Resilience Programme 2. Government, through Lilongwe District Council, is constructing 2 resilient school blocks, 2 teachers' houses, and 4 toilets at Nseru Primary School. The school's head teacher, Alfred Nkata, expressed excitement over the development, noting that the new infrastructure will transform the learning environment for both teachers and learners.
The coming of this development is a relief to us. At the same time, it is also a motivation to our learners because they will learn in a very conducive environment. And even the teachers, 2 of them will come. It means they will be teaching freely without wasting much of their time in terms of movement.
Malawi is implementing the second phase of RCPR2, a multi-million-dollar initiative designed to shield communities from increasingly severe climate-related disasters. The program has allocated 240 million United States dollars to Malawi from a total regional grant of 250 million United States dollars, with the remainder supporting coordination at the African Union level. The initiative prioritizes the construction and the rehabilitation of bridges, culverts and roads to restore connectivity and mitigate future disaster risks. Beyond infrastructure, it also strengthens district-level climate resilience, benefiting all 28 district councils through a decentralized model under the government-to-entity service delivery framework. Lower District Council reports steady progress in implementing disaster-resilient infrastructure. Mese Mpakule, Director of Planning and Development, says the Council is overseeing 3 rehabilitation projects worth over 631 million kwacha.
The Lower District Council received 631 million to rehabilitate the infrastructures that were affected by disasters that we have had for 2 or 3 years back. The RCRP, knowing that what we are trying to do is to build resilience to communities, what we did at first is to bring awareness to the community. We sensitize them about the project and the objective of the project so that they understand the resilience component.
For his part, Kondwani Hirembo, Senior Disaster Risk Management Specialist with the World Bank, says RCRP2 operates in 5 circles with grants enabling districts to implement prioritized resilience works. Hirembo said so far so good, but stressed the need for safe and environmentally conscious construction as well as inclusive community engagement.
In general terms, what we can say is it appears the works have started quite well. These are works which are being implemented by the district councils. The project in itself has got 4 different components. And under one of the components, we've got a component which has got a sub-component that provides grants to districts to implement resilience works. And all these 3 sites are being implemented under that. So this particular grant, the way it works is that districts at the beginning of the financial year present a list of projects they want to implement. And we have to verify that these activities are going to add to the resilience of the communities within which they are going to be implemented.
With such interventions, government and its partners aim to enhance Malawi's capacity to withstand climate shocks, safeguarding lives, livelihoods and essential infrastructure for years to come. Miriam Kaliza, NBC News, Lilongwe.
The Ministry of Health says it will accelerate efforts such as training for its staff, especially those in the maternal health management, in order to equip them with necessary skills. Director for Human Resources in the ministry, Daf Msukwa, says the rising mortality rates in the country has moved the ministry to train maternal health practitioners. Margaret Mapando reports.
Director for Human Resources in the Ministry of Health, Daf Msukwa, says there are areas that need improvement in the maternal sector, which they hope will be addressed by such trainings. Msukwa says the maternal mortality rate in the country stands at 225 out of 100,000 births, which they aim to reduce to 140 per 100,000 births.
Well, we expect that there will be an improved safe delivery in the facilities. There will be improved accountability. We also expect the mortality rate to be reduced. As you may be aware, it is so high, 225 per 100,000 births. So our intention to reduce it to at least 140 per 100,000 births. So we are hopeful that this training will achieve these results.
Professional Training Coordinator at the Malawi School of Government, MSG, Mwenejo Swira, says they are partnering the Ministry of Health to support them achieve goals and pillars by the ministry. He added that they are aiming to achieve sustainability in the Ministry of Health with focus on the long-term impact on mortality rate, which the ministry is trying to reduce.
We are expecting to achieve a lot, especially that the knowledge gap, which is there, has been narrowed up. We are also looking at the long-term impact that the intent of the Ministry of Health is to reduce the mortality. And we think that the intervention whereby the training is coming in is going to facilitate that.
The 3-day training is part of the strategic plan for the Ministry of Health, aimed at achieving set targets in different sectors of the ministry. Margaret Mabando, NBC News, Lilongwe.
Malawi Police Service says it has made a breakthrough in the Dr. Victoria Bobe murder case, as 6 people have provided accounts of their roles in the crime. Dr. Bobe, who was a doctor at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital as well as a lecturer at the Kamuzu University of Health Sciences, was shot dead by the criminals on 17th November 2025 at her residence in Blantyre, where they went away with a MacBook Pro 11 laptop, an iPad 10th generation, and an NBS POS machine. National Police spokesperson Laochi Ndembo has identified the suspects as Rafael Nsalanyama Mano, 35, an ex-police and former intelligence officer from Gaza Province, Mozambique, Isa Ali, 47, Santos Chamamba, 54, Maxwell Elia, 52, Charles Chikafa, 62, and Peter Chimenya, aged 50. Chintembo said the investigations are ongoing to arrest the 2 remaining suspects and recover the stolen property, including the murder weapon believed to be in Mozambique. This is the morning edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. Malawi and Zambia commit to strengthening bilateral defense and security cooperation to deal with security challenges in both countries. Police arrest 6 suspects in connection to the murder of medical doctor at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital, Victoria Bobe. And in sports, First Capital Bank unveils a 100 million kwacha sponsorship to National Youth Football Association for the 2026 Under-20 Youth Football League. Welcome back. Good Neighbors Malawi has rolled out a 2025 humanitarian emergency relief program targeting 2,500 vulnerable households in the areas of Traditional Authority Kalolo and Chiseka in Lilongwe Bunda constituency. Speaking during the launch of the program, Country Director for the organization, Daisyon Ko, said the initiative aims to provide immediate food assistance to households facing food insecurity.
We are doing some smallholder farmer supporting program, but because of the last season, many farmers were suffering from the drought, so they couldn't pay back the loan. And so our program was also a little bit difficult to manage. That's why this year we are also trying to support this one, and I also asked to our HQ office, even though the global situation is not good, but we continuously asked and then they accepted. So this one is available, and so now this is just one-time humanitarian relief supporting, but we are still also running the developing program like a SFSP program to support the farmers and then let them produce more crops later. So we are also now on the process to distribution of the input items like fertilizer and the grain seed also.
As a council, we are trying to facilitate to bring together the farmers that were affected, the local leaders, so that the relief item goes to the intended beneficiaries. We have a lot of families that were affected, but for Good Neighbors, about 2,500 households are the ones who are going to benefit from this program. And these farmers are from Lilongwe West, from Lomba EPA, Chiwenga EPA, and Nkwinda EPA. A total of 4 EPAs in the district.
An observation report on the conduct of the 2025 general election by Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, CHRR, says the broader environment surrounding the elections was peaceful, inclusive and well organized. Executive Director for CHRR, Michael Kayatsa, made the remarks in Lilongwe during the dissemination of the 2025 Electoral Observation Report. Olive Piri reports.
The Center for Human Rights Rehabilitation, CHRR, says it deployed 169 observers in 11 districts during the 2025 elections. According to Executive Director for CHRR, Michael Kayatsa, through the observers, they found among other aspects that the Malawi Electoral Commission, MEC, delivered polling materials to polling centers in time, and that political party and candidate monitors were permitted to observe registration process. Kayata said despite these successes, there were challenges in terms of voter registration as National Registration Bureau, NRB, delayed deployment of its officers to some registration centers and some citizens failed to register. He added that apart from registration challenges, there were also technical issues as some electoral management devices, EMD, malfunctioned.
We observed during this election process that the abuse of state resources continues, and it's important that this challenge should be addressed. We need to look at our laws, particularly those related to political campaigning, so that there's a clear demarcation between state and the political party events, because we have noted that in most cases that line is blurred, and as a result we find that some political candidates are giving themselves unfair advantage.
CHRR has since emphasized the need for MEC and NRB to strengthen coordination and for political parties to strengthen deployment of monitors. Olive Pili, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Technical Entrepreneurial Vocational Education and Training Authority, TVETA, says it is geared to promoting skills development among different communities through its technical colleges. Director of Training at TVETA, Modesto Gomani, said this at Likoma Community Ground during the graduation of people who underwent training under TVET in the district. Jackson Sichale with the details.
Underscoring the need to improve service delivery in different sectors, TVETA continues to instill knowledge among communities in different fields, a development that is key in helping people to be financially independent and contribute positively to the development of the nation. Speaking during the institution's graduation ceremony at Likoma Community Ground, Director of Training Programs at TVETA, Modesto Gomani, said the initiation of technical colleges is a direct response to government's call to ensure that Malawians acquire skills that will enable them to create financial opportunities for their families and improve their living standards. Gomani therefore urged the graduates to be innovative and make sure that they apply the knowledge gained accordingly in line with the Malawi 2063 blueprint of achieving self-financial independence.
Under the Malawi 2063, there is a pillar on capital development, and capital development hinges on skills development. That's why we are here to ask for equal participation of these youth by empowering them with the skills.
Council Chair for Likoma District, Justina Pili, hailed TVETA for initiating technical training at the island, describing it as a game changer among residents of the area in enhancing socio-economic development. Odrick Mndali, who is among the graduates specialized in boat making, expressed gratitude to TVETA, saying he is ready to utilize the skills gained for the benefit of his family and the community.
It helps us to find a money that can help our families, relatives, even vulnerables, even old ones. We can help in several ways from our initiative.
Among 151 graduates, 110 were males and 41 were females, specializing in boat making, tailoring, carpentry and joinery, ICT and beekeeping, just to mention a few. TVETA has also donated 5 computers to Likoma Community Technical College to enhance their service delivery. Jackson Sejali, MBC News, Likoma.
Government says it remains committed to creating opportunities for the youth through the promotion of technical and vocational skills. Minister responsible for Skills and Innovation, Joel Shigona, made the remarks after inspecting the progress of construction works for a mechanical and refrigeration workshop at Sochi Technical College in Blantyre. James Kachepa with the full story.
Launched in July this year, the construction works for the 2-story building at Sochi Technical College is moving at a fast pace with an eye on the target for completion, which is by May next year. The minister responsible for Skills and Innovation, Joel Shigona, inspected the project, and this is what he had to say.
We are very much happy that the construction is going well, and I think they are within the time scale that they have been allocated. I'm very much happy. I'm very much happy with the progress. We would like to say that it's our aim to promote the youth, especially those that have just graduated. Anyone cannot get a white-collar job. For them, they can establish their own, and then they can help us to develop this country. The people that are well-skilled, they lead to the development of the country. So if we have a lot of skilled laborers, we can even export them, rather than just exporting the laborers. We need to export skilled laborers at the moment.
As part of expediting works for the project, the contractor, Choice Construction Company, says has created 2 working shifts. Julius Masanko is the site agent.
It's progressing well. We have got 2 shifts. Because of the weather conditions, sometimes it rains, so we have decided to make 2 shifts so that we can cover the days that we are not working.
Once completed, the building will provide space for automobile mechanics, refrigeration and air conditioning workshops, as well as offices for some members of the staff. James Kachepa, MBC News, Blantyre.
And in sports, First Capital Bank FCB has unveiled a 100 million kwacha sponsorship to National Youth Football Association for the 2026 FCB Gatswiri Under-20 Youth Football League. The sponsorship has doubled from 52 million kwacha last year, and the league will now be played in 16 districts from 14. FCB Head of Marketing and Communication, Twikale Chirwa, has indicated that the doubling is as a result of the need they want to fulfill in talent scouting and identification.
For us to be able to utilize the format that has been proposed by the technical panel in NYFIA, we had to increase the sums, because what we are focusing more is on the player and not the team. So you'll be aware that at national level, there will be select players that will be competing from the 4 regions of Malawi: East, South, North and Center, based on coaches' recommendations and also technical directors from Football National Malawi recommendations on which players should feature in this select. So in order for us to fund and also to get these players from all these districts we're talking about, we thought that we should increase the sponsorship sum so that we're able to fulfill the format that has been proposed.
The league will start at district level before moving to regional level and the national level. NYFA chairperson Tien Kuchavula says the money will go a long way in scouting for talent.
We are excited about this development. It becomes key in our transforming the game agenda. We are very pleased and grateful to First Capital Bank. This money, we're looking at number one, prize monies to the team, as well as the uniforms for the winners. Now, you may recall that from last year, the prizes for district winners have included the uniforms. So this money, part of it will be prize money. Apart from prize money, we are also looking at the officiation expenses, then also administrative expenses, especially for national finals logistics. I should also mention to say we are increasing the number of districts. We were in 14 districts, now we'll be in 16 districts. So part of the money will help to fund the expenses for the 2 additional districts.
And that's it from our newsroom for now. Before we leave, here's a recap of our top stories. Malawi and Zambia commit to strengthening bilateral defense and security cooperation to deal with security challenges in both countries. Police arrest 6 suspects in connection to the murder of medical doctor at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital, Victoria Bobe. And in sports, First Capital Bank unveils a 100 million kwacha sponsorship to National Youth Football Association for the 2026 Under-20 Youth Football League. Keep up to date with our news coverage on our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You are with me, Upile Kaisa. Many thanks for watching. Have a lovely day.